How's everybody? Yeah. So. So there's a couple of you that still owe me a couple of tests. Olivia, you owe me one. You have a graphing.
What?
You have the graphing.
No.
Well, I'm telling you.
I don't know how to do it.
You know how to do it.
No, I
This week I'm finishing every test.
Oh, you know, you say that every week.
I know.
All right, so we are coming obviously down to the end, and I'm going to try and we have one quiz left.
What?
So we have one quiz left.
Wait, are you sure it's one? Because I'm miscounting.
Wait, I thought you said we had 3 quizzes left, and then we took
So,
2.
for this chapter 12, we will have a quiz at the end of the unit, which I believe will be Wednesday next week. And then we go back to chapter 10, and I won't quiz you on chapter 10, but it'll be on your final.
Are you gonna drop a grade? Are you gonna drop a test grade? Are you gonna keep it on yours. Okay, but like the grade will literally go up 3% if you drop it in half. Because I've never gotten like a C. I only have to fill up one test, and that's why I have a bad grade. Also, I think other than that, okay. Wait, if I have to make up one more test and I have 3 missing homework assignments and I have an 83 in here, can I get an A?
Sure. All right.
So that means no.
Hold down. Hold down. Yay. Perfect. Thank you. Everyone get one? Too many? Good. Lee, did you get notes? Cool. Miwa, you get notes? Yay. All right. So let's talk about what's at the very end of this booklet. Starting on page 199, it says second semester final exam review. Okay, so I would say you should probably start looking at that as early as tonight and spending.
Do we get to turn it in again for extra credit?
Well, I never had you turn it in the
Last
first
year?
place. I don't think so.
Last semester?
Wait, wasn't
I
it?
don't
Was
know.
it your
All right. So I don't know. I mean, it's not a enormously long review. It's just definitely there are things on there that you should.
Is our final 20%?
Yep. So that seems like the parent thing to do. Yeah. Opt out all day long.
Wouldn't you just get a 0 then?
No, you opt out of it, man.
Opt out. So now here is a beautiful thing. So a lot of you still need to take the capstone for rational functions with me. Here's a really great thing though. So I was in the meeting last week. I believe it was Thursday evening. And so a couple of the things on the capstone are changing for next year, but I made one of them start now and go retro backwards. So all you have to do is get a 6 out of 10. And so it's funny, you know, a lot of the other schools don't have a lot of sophomores that take Algebra 2 because, well, they're not as good, I guess.
You always roast other schools.
I do. Pretty awesome that you guys.
I mean, it's pretty easy to roast.
So a lot of the other schools are like, well, we already have all of our sophomores who are in Algebra 2. They've all passed the capstones. I said, well, that's great. How many kids do you have in your Algebra 2? 1. And I had like, you know, some schools have like 45, 55, 60. Like, well, how many do you have over at Creek? I said, well, starting in 6th grade, no, like, you have 6th graders? I said, yeah, we got a 4th grader who's taking BC Calc right now, so.
No, you don't.
Me personally, no, but we do. We have a 4th grader in the school.
That's
who's
why
got
we
BC
said
Calc.
you locked it
Shut up.
down.
That is a total no way.
I I am telling you, I would not lie.
No, Austin is
So, all right. So anyhow, they asked how many kids do we have as sophomores taking Algebra 2? I said between our sophomores and our freshmen, and I just stopped there. I didn't want to gloat too much more that we have a lot of middle school kids that are taking it.
I feel stupid.
But we had. Don't worry. You know what you call those kids later in life? Boss. So.
Not true.
So this school alone, if you were to take Grandview and Eagle Crest and CT and Smoky Hill and Overland and add up the number of kids they have taken Algebra 2, we have more. Yeah, we have more. So it's like, oh yeah, we have 46 sophomores in Algebra 2. That's it.
That kid might be in.
I got 46 sophomores between my two classes. So, I don't know, it's kind of
Unless
goofy.
he builds a rocket, that won't be going.
We're building rockets? All right, so let's, so I need you to come in and take that capstone with me, please.
What if you're a junior though?
Well, you still need to take it, it's going in his grade.
Not really.
It'll help, yeah, it goes to 20 out of 20.
Wait, so is
And all you have to get is a 6 out of 10, you get a 20 out of 20.
this capstone on the stuff?
Dude, you get 10 out of 10s every time.
Is this capstone on the stuff we just tested on?
Yes,
So it's like, if you did well on the test, like you know how to do it.
I hope so. Sound good? So come in on your own, please. Doesn't matter if I have class or not. I can log you into the capstone.
So
All right.
if you got a 6 out of 10, you would get 20 out of 20.
Yep. You just reach get. Whoa! Hey, I don't want to go mail. I want that open. Close. Get out of there. Get out of there. All right. So, first part of this chapter starts out relatively simple. It's all pretty simple, but we're dealing with conic sections. My turn. All right, so we're going to be using the distance and the midpoint formulas. You've only heard about those at least once. So we're going to talk about finding some skills, find the distance between two coordinates, and also what's in the middle. We good so far? All right, you all have seen the distance formula before. Distance formula is indeed related to the Pythagorean theorem, which is kind of cool. Thank you. So what does the distance find us? How far it is between two end points of a line segment. Or just 2 points. Okay? Alright, so find the distance between the two. And I'm going kind of algebra 1 on y'all. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. So it's good to label. And then you realize you have the difference between the points. Oops, that's a 1. And then that's in order to find our distance. So D equals. So D equals, plug them all in. So I'm going to get myself -4 minus 2 squared plus -7 minus 5 squared. And doing the arithmetic, so I get 36 plus, is that 7 minus 5? So that's -12, so plus 144. So this comes out to, do the math, 180. So the distance between the points are 180. Or am I going to be really totally worried about breaking that down? Not really. Does anyone need to see the second one worked out? No. Yeah, I'll deal with that.
So, like, I know it's not how the formula works, but doesn't normally, like in exponent, like in squared, and then like a radical cancel out? So.
Yeah, but you're doing some mathematical operations in between them.
Okay.
So you have to do the arithmetic here first. Then you square whatever that is. The arithmetic here first. Square that. Then you add those together, and then you take the square root. So if it was just, square root of 9 squared, then yes, they would cancel each other out. But you have to do the math operations. Ooh. Anything else on this screen? Nope. All right. All right. Classify the triangle. Oh. Classify the triangle. Really? So we have to find the distance from A to B, B to C, and A to C. So we're going to do this.
I feel like we did this early in the year.
So these two columns, these two rows, because no one in these two rows are paying attention to me. Find me the distance from A to B. Got it?
A to B.
A to B.
Oh my.
A to C. These two rows. A to C. And then B to C. My last two rows. So find me the distance. Please. Distance formula if you need it. If you didn't pay attention is this.
So the problem is I've learned that and I know that, but I always forget it.
Same.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Maybe with me as a teacher this year you'll know it.
Yeah. Or maybe you could give us the
Wait.
formula.
How do you square?
Tell you what, just for you, I'll make sure I give you all the formulas on this last test, last quiz.
Thank you.
Would it just be X? How would you square it then?
You got to square it.
What?
That's
Mr. Syrup has made the rules.
That's what I
yeah.
did.
They made this rules way longer ago than I was alive.
What are you
Sorry.
talking about? We're doing BC.
All right, do we have an answer for AB?
Oh,
We have an answer yet for
I
AB?
got a question.
Wait, I got.
What does that fourth grader take in 6 years from now?
Shoot, what are they taking? 2 years.
Yeah, exactly, dude. What are they going to go to college in sixth
They'll-
grade?
we have online Stanford classes they can take.
No, they'll just chill with Elon Musk.
I hate kids like that.
So he rides the bus.
If my
What do you
kids are
got?
like that, I won't like my
Say it. Root 58? I like it. We'll stay with it.
Alright, yeah.
So from A to B, I have a root 58. Do I have an answer for AC or BC?
Yeah. AC.
AC is what?
Yeah.
29.
Root 29?
Heads up, Kyle.
All right. BC, we have an answer.
Hold up.
Hold it up.
Left their Turtle Beaches here, man.
They're yours now.
Yeah, I got root 29.
Root 29?
21.
21?
Wait,
You did something wrong.
isn't that how you get an I?
They did something wrong.
Hold up.
So 4 minus, or say 1 minus 3, that's negative, or negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. Plus 4 minus minus, so that's 5, 25. That's 29. Root 29. All right.
Yeah.
So AC and BC are both root 29. The other one's different. What kind of triangle is it?
Triangle.
Isosceles. Sam, who's in geometry, understands that it's isosceles.
Sophomore.
All right. So, all right, same rules for number 6. Same first two, you find AB. Next 2 rows, you find AC. Last 2 rows, find BC. Please. Bless you. You like that? Do we get an answer yet?
Yeah, it's root 29 again.
Root 29 again? 4.
I think.
All right, I got root 29 here. Do we have another answer? Where? Who's root 65? For root 65? Cool. And? Waiting on those first 2 rows.
Oh, wait.
Really?
For number 6, too?
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh my god.
Root 52.
Root 52? Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so this is
Root
a
52.
Scalene triangle.
scalene. Okay, go with that.
Why scalene, sir? Just kidding, I got it.
Because you don't have
I
3
know,
equal
it's
sides.
fooling me.
Okay. All right, cool. Any questions on that? We'll make sure that you have all those on there. All right, so find the midpoint between the paired points. Okay? So the midpoint one is just a horizontal or vertical. You just count. So come in 1, come in 1, come in, come in, come in, come in, come in. Somewhere in there. Okay,
Do that on the test.
same thing in the middle here, same thing in the middle here. Does everyone feel comfortable finding the midpoint? How do you find the midpoint? You have the average of the x's and the average of the y's. Okay? So, if I go backwards on this, I can do this. I know that that is 3, 5, and that is negative 6, 5.
Just count the distance.
And this is negative 6, negative 3. That is 8, 3. And that's 1, negative 7. And that's 7, negative 3. So midpoint, find the average. So the average on this one, I'm going to get 3 minus 6. 3 plus negative 6 is negative 3. Negative 3 over 2.
Can you just like count how many points there are?
On that one, yes.
Line right there.
On that one, yeah, but when it's a sloped line, probably not. It's easily. All right. Average of the x's, x minus 6 over 2. So that gives me 1, do the y's. 3 minus 3 is, or 3 plus negative 3 is 0. So 1, 0. So it looks like we're off a little bit. Oh, no, we're right. 1, 0 is right there. Cool. And then 7 plus 1 divided by 2 is 4. And then negative 3 minus 7, or negative 3 plus negative 7, negative 10. Negative 10 over 2 is negative 5. We good? Midpoint's happy? I'm competing with more voices than my head wants to hold. I already have 3 people in my head. Me, myself, and I.
Oh, nice.
But I don't need Drew in there.
You probably drew a mustache on something.
Bro, what's the last word? Oh, dog. Yeah. Sam wrote that one.
All right, can I move on? All right, find the midpoints of the line segment of the given endpoints. Does anyone need me to do this one? Or do you feel comfortable finding the midpoints? Okay. Then the one that gets tough is if you have one endpoint and you have the midpoint, how do you find the rest? Okay. So I have x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2, and then I have x comma m, y comma m for midpoint, right? So I can label that x1 and y1, or y1. I guess I could label it y2 if I wanted to. And I could label that xm, ym. So take this with this one. Gents back there, I appreciate and love you for chatting. Please make another decision other than chatting. So I have that then known. So let's plug in what we know. I know that xm is 3 equals negative 4 plus x of 2 over 2. Do the algebra. Agree with that one? And then same thing on this one. Do the algebra. So I know negative 5 is equal to negative 1. 2 plus y2 over 2. Multiply both sides. I get negative 10 over there. 2 plus y2. So y equals negative 12. So my end point that we were missing is 10, negative 12. I think that's the tougher of the two. That's where sometimes kids in the lower geometry classes really struggle with it. Yeah. And
So,
Sam
like,
does.
Yeah. So if you have the midpoint and one of the endpoints, and the midpoint's in the middle of them. So if you find the other one, if you have one of the endpoints, can't you just like say that it's the same distance from that one to the other one?
Yeah. So that's what the Pythagorean theorem is, right? It's
Yeah.
rise over run squared.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing the exact same thing.
So
So if this was on a grid, totally, you'd be like, dude, I need to go up this many, or I have to go right or left this many, and up this many. You're doing it.
nice.
Yeah. Heck yeah. All right, can I move on?
Yes.
Okay. What do you know about the slopes of perpendicular lines?
Opposite reciprocal.
Opposite reciprocals. So if you have M, if you want to find the perpendicular line, remember that's the upside down T. It's 1 over M is how you find the perpendicular slope, so you flip it over. What does the word bisect cut refer to? Cut two things in half.
Cut it in the
Do
middle.
you guys know how to do fair division? You ever hear of the term fair division?
No.
It's as simple as this. Let's say I have a piece of cake, and it's you and your friend, and you have one piece of cake.
I get that.
How do you do fair division?
You give him the plate and you get the slice of cake.
There you go. Now, so if you want to do fair division amongst two people of just a piece of cake, and it sounds silly to do this, the person cutting doesn't get to select which slice they get.
I'll never remember this.
So then that means the person who's cutting, well, I'm going to make it as even as possible. Because if the person cutting gets to pick the first slice, it's like, oh, I get the big slice. It's not fair. It's fair division. Okay, there's other ways to do fair division too. That's kind of, there's a class called discrete math that talks about fair division. But then you talk about like a state division. How would you and 5 people be able to inherit a mansion, fancy cars, and all this artwork? And it goes through a whole process of doing fair division. It's pretty cool. So bisect, we're okay. To write the equation of a line, what information do we need? Well, we need 2 points. We need a point and a slope.
Algebra 1, right?
That's about it, right? So write an equation for the perpendicular bisector of the line segment joining these 2 points. Okay. So that means if I wanted to find the slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to get, 4 plus 2 over negative 3 minus 9. So that's 6 over negative 12. So that's negative half. So what's the perpendicular slope of that? The flip over and it's negative, right? So I have to change this.
Positive 1.
Positive 1?
Yeah.
Flip that over?
I mean 2.
Positive 2, right? So 2 over 1, which equals 2. Okay? So negative reciprocals, change the sign. Hey, what's the perpendicular equation to a vertical line? What's the slope? Vertical line. What's the slope of a vertical line? Undefined, right? It's 1 divided by 0. So what's this line's slope?
0.
0. So what's the perpendicular of this? An undefined line. So, all right. Use the given distance formula between the 2 points and solve for x. Okay. So I know that distance is equal to root x sub 2 minus x sub 1 quantity squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 quantity squared. So I get 3 root 2 equals, and let's plug in what we know. So x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'm going to go, 5 minus x squared, bless you, plus negative 11 minus negative 8 squared. Agree? All right, do the math we know how to do. So I get 3 root 2 equals 5 minus x squared. Let's keep it like that for now. That's going to give me negative 3 squared plus 9. Plus 9. Okay, what should I do to both sides to start getting x by itself? What should I do to both sides to get x by itself? Square both sides. I'm going to square this, and I have to make sure I square that. I wanted that to be green, darn it. Square it, square it. So that's going to give me 9 root 4. 9 root 4 is 18. Agree?
Yeah.
And then I get 5 minus x quantity squared plus 9. All right, subtract 9. Square root that. It's always good to have an adventure. Remember, we got a plus or minus component. Okay? So that's going to give me plus or minus 3 equals 5 minus x. So, we're going to get 2 answers here.
2 and 8.
So I'm going to subtract 5. And then I do the negative of it. So I'm going to go 3 minus 5 is negative 2. Take the opposite, so I get 2. Or I'm going to go negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. So 2 or 8. Both of those would work.
Nice.
You don't like this? I'm sorry, this is algebra 1. I'm sorry. All right, and last thing. For each quadratic function, do all of the following. Describe the transformation of the parabola. Okay.
Up 1.
So it went up 1, right 3,
Into stretch.
vertical stretch, and flipped over.
Yeah.
Flip over, x-axis, and stretch of 2. B, find the axis of symmetry. Oh, that's the x component of the vertex, so x equals 3, yay. Find the coordinates of the vertex. Oh, that's nice, it's in vertex form already, so 3, 1. D, find the y-intercept. Okay, plug 0 for x. So 0 minus 3, that's negative 3 squared, that's 18, or 9, times negative 2 is negative 18, plus 1 is negative 17. And find the x-intercept. Well, the x-intercept would be probably 2 things, right? So I'm going to get this. Equals 0. Find the x-intercept, so then I get this.
Equals 1.
Negative 1. So x minus 3. Conic squared equals 1 over 2. Square both sides. X minus 3 equals 1/4. Add 3 to both sides, so 3 and 1/4. Yay. So 3 and 1/4 common 0. Y'all remember this?
Hold on.
Yeah.
So like.
Oh, yeah.
All right, was that last?
Yeah.
Hey, that was it. All right. Hey, you guys want a lot of homework?
No.
Come on.
Yes.
All right, here is your homework. So it's worksheet 12A,
Every other.
and I think problem number 4, number 8, number 12,
Oh.
14 and 16, 17 and 18. Okay, I think that would be appropriate. And then, I would strongly encourage you to look at /start. You guys have the numbers at the bottom of your book, right?
Yeah.
Page 201.
Is that the review?
That's the start of the review. So this is starting the review. So we might have time to go over a couple of those tomorrow, but there's not an ungodly amount of time to just do it. So hopefully we can do just about 1 page. Notice it says just page 201. The review goes 201, 202. Just do 201 or try 201. All right? Other things. Yeah.
I was absent last week, just all my homework.
Yay.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Perfect. Thanks. All right, Capstone. Capstone, I need you to come in and do this. You need a 6 out of 10 to get a 20 out of 20 quiz score. So will that raise my grade? Yes.
For this.
Do the last capstone with me. All you need now is a 6. That's all you need is a 6 out of 10 to get a 20 out of 20.
I'm glad you live in America.
Rational functions.
If they did this in France, they
Did you already do it?
You
Took 3?
Just posted on
Number
school.
3?
There's one that's been on School G for a while. What?
Number 3 is the first one. Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm glad we're taking a capstone in America because if we lived in France, they would decapitate.